Welcome here to more TALKFCB and welcome back to the channel, guys. We are going to be hearing all the best quotes from Ronald Koeman today as he addressed the media ahead of Barca against Osasuna this weekend, a crucial game in the title race. Koeman there was talking about the good run of form right now, the feeling within the fans. He was also asked, of course, about the presidential election and what his preference would be ahead of the Madrid derby. It's all coming up. Let's get to it. Come on! But I want to start first and foremost looking back at that Sevilla win. Koeman was asked pretty early on there in the press conference. Obviously, we spoke yesterday about the Monchi situation, about Sevilla getting quite angry throughout the game. And of course, that bit of drama outside of the field. But Koeman did play it down. No hard feelings there, it seems. He said these are things that can happen in a game of football, a very high-pressured situation. He said, I remember myself after the first leg. He said after the penalty wasn't given for the foul on Alba, he said, I was angry. He said, I think we deserve, though, overall to qualify. He said, but of course, there's always going to be that bit of controversy, but that's football. It's all about emotion. And then Koeman indeed went on to talk about that Sevilla win in terms of the team, the way we played, and the way we set up, especially there, the system that we deployed. Koeman was asked there this weekend, could we again see three at the back, but with Piqué's injury, is it now going to be a bit more difficult? Koeman said, of course, we can continue to play this system. He said, we do have more defenders available to us, but he said we don't have to be obsessed with the shape. He said we don't have to be absolutely obsessed there with the system that we play. He said, just like I said the other day, it's about the attitude of the team. He said with the ball and also without the ball, which we've improved on a lot. And I do feel as though, having heard Koeman now week in, week out, that attention to the off-the-ball situation, our pressing in particular, I think he's really happy there with the improvement we've seen. We've seen it out on the field, really helping us get results. And I myself, really happy with what we're doing in terms of that hard work. Koeman was asked indeed about that system. Do you feel as though recently Barca have been better defensively? You've been conceding less goals. And he was asked there, what's been the key in that turnaround? And Koeman said, well, we haven't made any mistakes. He said, obviously, that's one thing that we have to consider. He said, and the team has pressed well up front again, drawing special attention to that pressing. He said, of course, in some stages of a game, using three centre-backs, we're going to be more solid. He said, we've improved defending set pieces as well. He said it's vital for us, so important to keep clean sheets. And also in terms of the game against Sevilla, as we did mention yesterday over on TALKFCB, Barcelona won, we made the comeback, but Messi didn't score, neither did he assist. And Koeman was asked there what he thought about that. He said it's important to be clinical in front of goal, and he said it's important not just to depend only on Messi for our goals. He said we've got other players who can score as well. We've got players with huge quality in attack, so he said it's a good sign that we're sharing around that responsibility. Koeman was then asked inevitably about the upcoming election. He has received plenty of questions like this in recent days and weeks. He was asked there, do you feel as though you've deserved to stay on as coach, not only this season, but looking ahead to next season as well? Koeman, though, he said it's not my decision. He said, I don't really know. I can't really tell you. It's not in my hands. He said, what I do know is that I have one more year in my contract after this one. He said, in a few days' time, we're going to see who the president is, and then we'll see what happens. He said, but the most important thing for me is focusing on my job and winning games. But, inevitably, the journalists did not stop there. They asked him again about Xavi Hernandez, the fact that his name has been brought up right throughout the presidential campaigns, and what did Koeman make of that? Koeman said, though, during a campaign with the candidates, he said it's normal. You're going to hear some names. He said, but again, the most important thing is that I'm focused on my job. He said, we have no time here to think about other things. He said, so I'm not worried about names like Xavi or anybody else. He said, in the end, a new president will come in and he'll decide. He said, I don't want to continue answering these kind of questions. But again, they did not stop there. Another question about the election. Does Koeman feel as though he'd have a different relationship depending on who gets elected? Do you feel as though things might be different between one or the other? Koeman said, though, not really. He said all three of them have campaigned well. He said some of the quotes that you see in the media, he said, you know, they're just designed to win votes. That was interesting. Not really sure what he was referring to there. He said, but in the end, the members will decide the new president. And he said with a smile, I think that's great. But another question that was very much in the forefront of many of our minds and will be going into this weekend in terms of Sunday's game between Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid. The Madrid derby, a massive game in the title race. And Koeman was asked there, what's your preference heading into that game? He said, well, first of all, we've got to focus on our own game. He said, we have to beat Osasuna. That's obvious. He said, we have to make sure that we win our game. And then he said, the best result is probably for the team who's leading the league to drop points. But we shouldn't focus too much elsewhere. We've got to win our game. And I do feel as though Koeman there is all of us. I do believe he is a true Barcelona man, because you don't really want to say that we want Real Madrid to win. We don't really want to support Real Madrid in any game. But in terms of the title, it is best that Atletico Madrid drop those points. But of course, Koeman there saying it in a very good way. He was also asked, though, about the youngster Ilaix Moriba, who's been making a real impact in the first team recently, coming on and having some really good cameos. Koeman said Ilaix is one of the youngsters who's played with us in the first team. He said he's done training. He's also come on in games. He's had a really good impact. He said there's lots of options that we have in midfield. He also pointed out there Ricky Puig. He said Ricky right now is also training really well. He said we have youngsters who are fighting to get their place in the team. And that's good. The emphasis then started to drift away of the fans in terms of the expectations and in terms of the feeling right now of the Barca fans. Koeman was asked there, do you feel as though out on the street when you see people, obviously there's nobody inside the stadium, but do you feel as though the fans are happy right now? And he said, we feel on the streets that people, they're happy again. We feel excited again after some of the bad moments that we've had. We've bounced back. He said, we've been working hard, we've made some changes, and the feeling among supporters, it's very important to us, Koeman said. And he said, of course, we hope that soon we can have the fans back in the stadium for nights like that comeback against Sevilla. We really need that. And I think Koeman gave such an interesting answer there when he was asked basically, are you happy with your work? Are you proud of what you've done so far at the club, the changes that you've made? And like I say, I absolutely love this answer. He said, I'm really proud of the good atmosphere in the dressing room. He said, that's really important. He said, we've made some changes and now the players believe in themselves more. He said, like you saw in the comeback, he said, when I see the players celebrating those goals, he said, everybody together, even including the subs, he said they were probably angry that they didn't get to play, but they were still all together, united, and that is so important. He said in the good moments and in the bad, it's a good sign for a team to be like this, and he said that's one thing that I'm so proud of. And finally, Koeman was indeed asked there about that comeback, about the unity within the team. Could that be a turning point there? The win against Sevilla away, then coming back in the Copa. Do you believe that the double is possible? Not only the Copa del Rey, but also winning the La Liga title. And Koeman, again here, I feel, he just wants to keep expectations realistic. He doesn't want to put too much pressure on his players. He doesn't want to put too much expectation on the season. He said, first of all, we need to be more realistic. He said we can't change our opinion all the time. We can't say one week that we're going to win everything and the next minute that we got no chance. He said we got the Copa final. He said that's a trophy that we know we can win. He said then depending on the results of the team, we'll see if we can fight for the league. He said we just need to win. He said we're behind Atletico right now. We can't drop any more points. And he said that's tough because there's so many games. Our players are playing so many minutes. It's incredible. But he said, look, at the end of the season, let's just hope that we can say despite all the problems that we had, despite some of the struggles that we've been through, we've won a title. And he said that will be great. So those right there, guys, are the thoughts of Ronald Koeman ahead of another massive weekend in terms of the title race. A lot could be decided in these games to come, and hopefully we can continue all of that good feeling, all of the momentum right now that we're carrying through. The match preview, it's going to be up later on over on TALKFCB. I'm really excited for that because I think the lineup tomorrow, it's going to be fascinating. I'll see you then for that, guys. Thank you for joining me here, and of course, I will see you soon. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça!